I'd like to invite up to join us, hopefully here, to talk all about the future of NFTs from Zagreb Innovation Center, Mr. Frank Hesnik. Frank, fantastic. You are here. Any seat you want. Last call for Mr. Veza. No, yes, no, 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 yes, no, no. Okay. And also, the CEO of Kokosi and Mantastic, Mr. Tatsuki Mitsuhashi. Please join us on stage. Fantastic. Gentlemen, it's a pleasure. Oh, I get to stand up. Oh, you are here. Fantastic. Please, good to see you. If you want to grab one of the comfy seats, brilliant. Good to see you. So we have our panel, as promised. Mr. Veza from Atkar. Right, I feel really strange now. I'm standing on a box, and I feel really tall, and I kind of like it. But I don't think I can do that unless I have my own personal trolley or skateboard. But I'll keep it here for now, because it gives me a sense of power, even if you do get a chance to see too much of my belly button. So today's subject is really all about the future of art and NFTs. And each of our experts on stage, if you're going to do a selfie album, do it, make it a big one, just like that. We can wait. So each of our experts on stage will be able to enlighten us on lots of different areas. But first, how many people are experts in the audience on NFTs? We asked earlier, and there's a couple of people, you probably are now. How many people know nothing about NFTs and are keen to learn? That's the majority of the audience, so we're going to keep it in that kind of direction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw a question at you guys as a panel, just one by one work through what your answer is, and then send it back to me, and I'll come up with another question, and we'll work through like that. That's probably the easiest way to do this. So the first thing to do is explain who you are, what you do, so then the audience can position your expertise on this field. So if you'd like to introduce yourself to the audience, so they know who you are, and then we'll start questions going after that. Is that on? At the bottom it should be a flick switch. Let me just check it for you.
Oh, okay.
Oh, thank you so much.
May I try that? Nothing out of this one.
Just exchange this one if it works. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Musical microphones. That's definitely on. There you go. May I?
Okay.
That's good. All right, go ahead, please.
Yeah, hey everyone. Good morning, or is it? It's afternoon already. My name is Vesa. I'm a digital artist since 2008. I came up with my own technique of how to start painting, photographing those paintings, doing body paintings on people and photographing that process, putting it together with Photoshop, and then kind of having these digital high-resolution creations already from back then. So they call me a digital art pioneer because this is what I've been doing for quite some time. And it was quite miserable to be in the legacy art system with digital originals because everyone was always after the oil original or something like that. So they didn't yet see value in my work in a similar way as they do now because of NFTs. So in halfway through 2017, I am likely the first internationally known artist with a career who came into crypto art and NFTs back then. So this is a little bit about me, and I'm very excited to come and join some excellent panelists here and share some ideas with you.
So now you know. Round of applause, Mr. Veza. There you go.
Hello, good day. My name is Frane Šesnić. I'm coming from Croatia. Croatia is one small European country placed near between Slovenia, Hungary, Serbia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and we share the same sea with Italy, so we can focus about where I'm coming from. I live in the capital, Zagreb, and I run the biggest startup hub in Croatia and in the region with more than 100 startups inside.
Hi, my name is Tatsuki from Japan. I'm 90 years old. My vision is a society where people around the world can good smile tomorrow. Until I know, when I was 14 years old, my father is dead. I think when I was my father dead, a good university, good jobs, good lives, good money, earning money. But when I was my father dead, I think I learned that what's normal is normal is this world is not normal. I couldn't say thank you for further. So and I wanted to die every day. And Japan was one of the highest suicide rate among young people in the developed in the world. So I want to change in the world. I want to change in Japan. So I started to run the company that provide career support to junior high school students, high school students. So 2 years, I'm running my own business for education, only Japan. So I came here 2 months ago. I visit Dubai. This is the first time coming abroad alone. And now I'm a Japanese entertainer, and I have own education companies, and I teach career design, vision research for Japanese high school students. And I supported NFT media in Japan and Dubai economic newspaper for Japanese. Thank you. My name is Tatsuki. こんにちは。お願いします。
Tatsuki, thank you. So that's our panel. So each of you comes in from a completely different angle into the NFT space. Now, here's the thing. When we're talking about, for anybody who doesn't know or understand exactly what NFTs are, they're non-fungible tokens. And ultimately, they're filling a gap in the market. In effect, just correct me if I'm wrong, right now, information is free. Any picture, any content, you can probably get to download from anywhere. But if you had a picture of the Mona Lisa, for instance, on your phone, yeah, you've got it there, but that's not worth the same as the actual Mona Lisa. That's where NFTs really make the difference, because they make it easier for artists who are creating things to be able to put their stamp on it, and not only when they sell, they can sell and sell and sell and still get a commission all the way through. That makes a huge difference to any artist, where the last maybe 10 years or so, it's been really difficult to make money out of your art when everyone just keeps copying it and sharing it with each other. So for you, Mr. Vase, I'd like to ask, you're an actual artist, you create stuff yourself. Have you found that the NFT market has justified your art and made you want to be more creative without fear of people stealing your content?
No, it's probably made it a little worse to begin with.
Well, that makes me completely wrong. Please explain why.
Well, maybe I can answer the question a little bit better and more relevant to the audience if I go a little bit back, if you don't mind. So, ever since the dawn of computers, we have had digital creativity. So let's say we've had it for about 50, 60 years by now. But because we haven't had this digital ownership layer of NFTs, the art world and many other things have been quite complicated in order to sell digital products. And it's because we are accustomed to having computers as something that are very good at replicating things. I mean, when the internet arrived, we understood that we could share music files, movies, all of these different kinds of things. And our intuition is telling us that digital products aren't valuable because we have just been up until now pretty much using computers as something that replicates things and shares them very easily. Now, like you were saying about the Mona Lisa, it's a little counterintuitive to understand that Bitcoin came to change all of these different things for digital ownership and even money creation. And Bitcoin leads to Ethereum, Ethereum leads to NFTs. But for those who are a little bit confused by all of this, which is most of us probably in the room, it's good to watch a couple of documentaries on what Bitcoin is to begin with. What is the problem that Bitcoin comes to solve in the legacy monetary system? And that then leads to Ethereum, which is smart contracts and all of these different kinds of transaction layers where you can start to mint these NFTs. But first, it's good to understand Bitcoin, and then it easily leads into NFTs in a way that it doesn't no longer confuse people so much. So this would be the foundational layer, and YouTube is great for that. Just Google Bitcoin documentary, and you will have a plethora of them come and how to start it. But usually, it's just the way that if you build your house on solid foundations, every wind can then blow it every which way. And if you take the responsibility of self-educating yourself a little bit about what crypto is and how that leads to the whole thing, then it'll be easier to get to why NFTs are valuable and what digital ownership really means and why art is a great use case for it. But it's actually changing a lot more than just art. Art is the first spearhead, but then it goes to independent media, it goes to independent journalism, and it'll probably change the way that we do the scientific peer review process in the scientific community. So these are the kinds of things that will start to get influenced by NFTs. So this is just the beginning. This is why it's good to get the foundational sort of ideas of what they are right first.
Great answer. There's two things I would say. When you go onto YouTube to look up any of these subjects, check the date of when it was brought out, because it's probably completely different if it was a year ago than the most latest ones. But what you mentioned earlier about that art hasn't really helped your position in art, what kind of art is it that you do, and why is it so much more difficult now that you've mentioned with the digital space?
Oh, as far as I understood the question, it was about whether the art gets copied more or less. I would say it's entirely changed my career because now people take seriously what it is that I do. When I first entered this space and I was coming into all these different kinds of events from 2017 to 18 to 19, even till up in 20, they weren't giving me platinum VIP passes. You know, so even though I did projects, already in 2013, I made a digital art project with a Bollywood actress that reached 300 million people. So in one way, I had sort of all of these great resumes, but because the monetary layer wasn't there, the energy you couldn't monetize it in a way, so I understand why it's only now that it's all coming to fruition. But for me, it's 14 years of building that is now just beginning to skyrocket. Got you.
So it is true that it's starting to make a big difference. Let me put this into some kind of perspective so you can get the idea. You may know, has anybody heard of Banksy, the artist, who makes some really crazy pictures and is very popular, yeah? Well, Sotheby's recently bought one of his pieces of art, turned it into an NFT, and burnt the original. So the only existing version of it is an NFT version of it. That's an interesting angle on where things are going. We're going to talk a little bit more about the fragmentation of NFTs and so on. I'd like to now turn to Frana from Frana Sesnik. Could you share with us what you're doing with the Zagreb Innovation Center related to NFTs?
Okay, so I will go even a little bit back than Vesa did, because I would say that there are some prerequisites for NFT development. And for sure, it is infrastructure. If you don't have a great digital infrastructure, nothing can happen after that. And also, you need to have openness of the mindsets of the people, of the resources, and you need to know to have the knowledge that is needed to implement and to create those, let's say, new digital assets. So I consider that undeveloped countries, they have now a great opportunity to set their infrastructure, to invest in the knowledge and to gain the resources and to stream them into the new digital economy so they could create new value. And that's the great possibility and opportunity for all countries in the world. We are on the same position at the moment. That's my main message from here.
Well, a lot of the stuff that comes from the NFT space is decentralizing the content. Because right now, how many people are on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or any of those platforms? Most people are here on one of them, Instagram. Wherever content, I don't know if you've ever read the small print of when you sign up. Nobody ever reads it. It's like reams and reams of things from Mark Zuckerberg, basically saying we own everything that goes on a platform. So if we want to put a billboard up with you on it, you can't complain because we own your content. The difference with NFTs, if I'm correct, is the fact that because you put that out, and the process of doing it, what you have to do is get some cryptocurrency like Ethereum, and then you place that money relating to the creation that you've got, and then you launch it onto a distribution platform, and then that will allow you then to keep, you sign up to, there's ways of doing it, you sign up to say there's a commission involved, so it can be resold and you still get a commission from it, but rather than it being owned by any social media platform so they can lay and say it's mine, it's owned by you, but you can advertise it on social media platforms, and that changes a big difference on how it relates to people. So what you're saying there is, in a relatively small company like a country like Croatia, you can certainly dig deep into the talent of that country and be on the same level as any other country if you've got amazing artists who are doing things out there?
It's a huge potential, definitely, and but you need to have the strategy. The country has to have a strategy. You need to have infrastructure. You need to have clever guys, resources, and you need to have the open mind, of course, for that.
So Tatsuki, as a guy who's running a business in this space, you mentioned earlier about the challenges of, obviously, suicide is a problem in Japan. It's a problem for many people who are feeling isolated regardless. But the NFTs give somebody who's typically a creative who can't express themselves into the world a chance to design, create content, earn great money, and build a following just from their laptop on their own at home.
Okay, I think this question means NFTs future? No?
Sorry, say again?
Okay, it's questions. Okay. I researched this today's. Okay, wait 1 second. Yes, okay. Okay, I talk about the difference between the NFT communities in Asia and the NFT communities in Western Europe and the United States. Character of the NFT community in Asia. So illustrators who have been shared by otaku cultures have applied that NFT as a former monetization through illustration. 70% of NFT creator is a designer or a creator in Japan. So the market is illustrator, especially in Japan, congregation and also a growing economy. But also Western culture and US NFT is NFT and token use the right to participate in the economy. And speculation if the value of the NFT down, customer will be angry. Instead, there is a more real demand for NFTs more than Japan. The level of economy and event available. Dubai and US and Europe NFT economy is more than Japan. Japanese economy is very down. Only so because only creators. Yeah.
Okay, I missed a lot of that, I've got to be honest, but thank you for that anyway.
Okay.
Let's look at the opportunities to grow. Let's talk about the fact that when people talk about NFT, I mean, we've had this mad thing with crypto punks, for instance, where this kind of like digital avatar, which seemed like a lot of people wouldn't take it seriously, the cheapest one to get hold of is now worth $400,000. That's where things are going, but I mean, people are aware of the stuff with the apes as well. There are a lot of opportunities of how people can see the growth of NFTs. It's certainly in the art space. What would you say, one by one, gentlemen, is the area that you feel would be the biggest area in the future that people should concentrate on?
Well, as an, I suppose, expert on this panel, my particular segment is on fine art. And I would say that the transformation that is about to happen in fine art NFTs, because at the very beginning of this movement, it was sort of half and half. It was half fine art and people were talking about art, and half they were talking about collectibles. But now everything, of course, with what happened with COVID, people lost their livelihoods. Many people had to kind of figure out how they can make a living online very fast because, you know, a lot of things happened as we were all living through it during the last 2 years. And then that's, I think, part the reason why the collectibles really took over. It's, of course, much more easy to understand what the whole thing is, and it has set rules and a liquidity and all that kind of stuff. It's much more difficult from that standpoint if you want to make money fast, but then you have it much riskier in a way, that if you do it with the collectible space. And that's why all the energy went there, because you have to kind of be able to read art a little bit. You have to know the artist's career. You have to invest into them a little bit more long term. So now with the kind of mentality with NFTs that we have, many great artists aren't yet coming in because they see that their language is not being spoken and it's a little bit more slow digestible, and it requires, like myself, I'm more after the collectors who see my value, what I've already built over 14 years, and where it's going to be in 10 years. I'm growing very steadily, and you can still do the 10x, the 20x, the 40x, or the whatever. That is the goal, but it's coming on a slightly slower burn. So that's the whole idea. But you really need to kind of see a bigger picture, how people are collecting art in the digital space, because they're generating their digital castles now. Like, for example, Nico in the audience, he's building this whole digital world where people can have their whatever mansions or things like that. So the human psychology is going to remain the same in the metaverse as it is here in the physical world. So you're going to have your online identity. And then it's a very different thing if you have a picture of a Mona Lisa in your house as opposed to the real thing. So this happens now in the digital space like this, and that'll change how wealthy people will start to showcase their status in the metaverse. And right now, sure, it's kind of cool that you have a very expensive punk, but that doesn't yet talk about a lot of you as a person. It doesn't show your taste in things and all of these kinds of things that we're accustomed to seeing what art is actually there to do as a function socially. But then there's the language of art itself, is what it's saying. So, because with all due respect to the crypto punks and apes, they don't really say a whole lot apart from the fact that you have a lot of money and you are now in a club and that's liquid and all that kind of stuff. So once this sophistication starts to come into the collectibles of the fine art side, I think the fine art side might just eclipse everything that the collectibles are doing at the moment. And now some of us who are building that, it's early opportunity time.
And there's a great opportunity with the fine arts as well for somebody to get in early with an artist that you really like and be part of that whole sponsorship growth. If you look at somebody, for instance, like Vincent van Gogh, years ago, died unhappy with no money, is seen now as probably the best artist of all time by many collectors. His stuff is worth a fortune. If he was able to crowdsource his fan base in the early days, it would have been a very different story, and people can do that now through NFTs.
Well, just if I may, just to say on that, first of all, I have a theory that Vincent van Gogh was autistic. I think he was Asperger's, so he wasn't very good socially.
No.
And unfortunately, he had an operating system internally as well, which was founded on socialism. So he was doing something super exceptional in a small village, admiring the village people, whilst kind of not being able to communicate with people. So that's part of the disaster of why he was who he was. Yeah, not a great setup.
So, Frane, how would you say is the biggest growth opportunity from your experience in the NFT space?
So today we are talking about the future of the NFT beside the arts and the content. So I would say that NFT is definitely the leader of the new digital economy. And there are lots of implementation, like marketing, gaming. We talked today about accommodation, real estate. But what I would like to emphasize that I believe that the future is in kind of what is unique for each person. It's his creativity and his experience. So if we connect art with the creativity, then experience we can connect maybe with the lifestyle. Let's say I like his shoes, I would like to know where he bought them, and maybe I would like to have the same one. Maybe I like his success, maybe he's my role model. I would like to know more about him and how maybe to reach some those points that you already have. I believe that experience is the whole new potential how to monetize the future NFTs.
But when in the Innovation Center, do you have a number of artists underneath your roof who work with you? How do you get them first out to people? Because there's no point being a great NFT artist if nobody knows you exist. How do you promote and how do you get them to be better known?
Well, I don't know how to promote them because still we are like a small community. And we do our best through let's say, crowdfunding platforms, and that's at the moment the only way to promote, to make the promotion of them.
Is what? Social media. So they create it, put it on social media, but they tag it as an NFT before it starts going out, so it can start its journey going from there. Fantastic.
We are all learning by doing, so that's the only way.
Absolutely. So what do you see, Tatsuki, as the biggest growth opportunity in NFTs?
NFT opportunity? Okay. So this. Sorry, not Japanese. Okay.
Without
English.
reading it,
yeah.
without reading it, tell us.
Okay. Okay, future, all the information will be able to be collected on the metaverse. All the information can collected on the metaverse. One can access one person self on the metaverse. Two, you can choose from the number of options that allow you envision the future and watch it. Three, the feeling of wearing the device is embedded and you can use it like your own finger. So Metaverse is deep insight, deep information, deep information, a lot of information, every information can get. So now marketing, design, recruiting is only and under not deep information, not deep insight. But I saw every people in Metaverse, so everybody a lot of information can get. So change different marketing, change different customers, change different product, I think.
Thank you. One of the challenges that faces everybody, I mean, right now, if you're talking about NFTs, there's a couple of areas that all are merging together. So you've got gaming, you've got ticketing for events, so you can NFT a ticket that you buy that can't be then given by anybody else, that is owned by you. We've got avatars as well and your own profile. Now, for many people who aren't able to do fine art, but they are able to do gaming, or they are able to be in real estate, or even to do streaming services and lots of different ways of connecting, that will come down to the very center of who you are, which is making sure that you can be an NFT, or the stuff that you put out to the world can be an NFT. How would you suggest that people start considering their first steps into this space?
I think I already mentioned the sort of Bitcoin route of watching documentaries and going and learning all the foundations, because you don't want to make yourself an NFT and sell that free or for a low price and then you realize a year later that you made a big mistake. So when it comes to, you know, those kinds of things where you really tokenize yourself and you get to that level, I mean, I would be super hesitant to do it myself, and I've been here full-time 5 years now. So I would cautiously does it, I think.
But on that point, when you say I'd be hesitant to do it, you're an artist creating fine art. So you have an idea about the scalability of the content. So when you're creating, is it pictures that you create? You create artwork like that, or is it sculptors? Forgive me, I don't know.
Oh, it's kind of a mixed media thing. I started painting and photographing the paintings, body painting and putting it together. Then increasingly now it's virtual reality, augmented reality. I mix it all together to communicate something exciting, basically.
So with that mixture, how do you fragment it so you don't sell yourself short? Would you make 1,000 pieces, 1,000,000 pieces? What would you do?
Well, for example, right now, because I'm a representative for Shisha Finance with Said Al-Darmaki, and where I generated an artwork for them that is both a still version as well as a motion version. And the way that we're going to now sell it to the community is that we're going to make 100 prints that work in an augmented reality layer in such a way that you point your mobile phone on it, and then the work comes alive on your screen. And then some of them are going to be given as gifts. The first of the 100 is going to be auctioned, and that's going to be the most valuable. Then we're going to do all kinds of crazy things to this 100 limited edition that is going to energize the community and for them to have different kinds of opportunities. So it has the artwork, the intrinsic value of the art, then it has a bunch of different kinds of functions, and then it has a ready-made, already kind of community base and the layer, and we're just going to see what we can do with that. It's a grand experiment, like you were saying. We really don't, we're just trying things out. And this is why it's such a low barrier of entry into this space if you're thinking about making your own NFTs or trying to, don't look at experts, maybe listen to some things, but follow your own instinct of what you might find exciting for you. And then kind of just start playing it out. There really isn't an authority who can tell you what's going to work and what's not going to work, because none of us really know. We're just generating it as we go along, and that's the joy of it. That's what's so cool about it. So you just need a little bit of courage and a little bit of intuition of where to get this information and then go.
And I would say as well that if you got somebody telling you how to do it, I'd be very suspicious, because they're probably going to make a lot more money out of it than you are, depending on what their involvement is. And you should be owning a large percentage of what you create, if not all of it at first anyway, because that's what digitization allows you to do. So it should be in that space. Well, unfortunately, gentlemen, we've kind of run out of time, because I know we've got a couple of other speakers, and we've got an opportunity then to grab some lunch as well. So it's been a pleasure spending quality time with you. Please put your hands together for our experts on stage. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Make sure you connect with them online as well, and follow up with any questions that you have that they might not have been able to answer for you while they were with us on the